Hello everyone, Johnny Minder here, and today we are continuing to learn Japanese with Pokémon FireRed. Last time we finished the trainer school. We continue going around Viridian City. In particular, we spoke to the drunken old man in the Japanese version, blocking the road. I guess so. Today we'll continue going around Viridian City. Most likely we'll finish it, or at the very least we'll see where this we'll start what advances the story there. Yeah, without further ado, let's start. Yeah, our usual in-game summary. Yeah, so far nothing new, so defeating the rival, exiting the lab, and also we spoke, we checked out everything else as usual. We left our house and then went into the other one, into Greens, again to check all the dialogue. We arrived at Viridian City, Tokyo City, as it says there. Yeah, so yeah, we actually press since I started there. Yeah, we're in front of this house and we'll enter this. Yeah, we actually entered it last time, but then I decided to check out the old man, and yeah, it was worth it. First and foremost, I'll speak to the Pokemon here, called Oni-chan. And yeah, called like that because actually the Japanese name of Spearow is Onisuzume. But I'd say we can check that out, and then of course we took on the Oni at the start and then at the Chan, but it's funny considering that Oni is the Japanese term for ogre, demon. Yeah, they're those creatures of Japanese folklore. But yeah, we'll check that out again. Yeah, just mentioned that Oni on its own is actually accent on the ni, on the last syllable, Oni. Not to be confused, by the way, this one with Oni-chan with a longer vowel, as that would be with the change of chan, but yeah, still big brother. So yeah. I wonder if I'll be fine with that thing, but oh well. By the way, the dialogue is simply chun, so yeah, clearly Spearow's cry put in words in this case, even though as you can see here, yeah, that's the typical cries that Pokemon have in game. We'll check around. Well, first, actually, let's speak to the people, and then we'll check the rest, since there's something for sure new here. But yeah, first and foremost, this kid says, "Uchi no to-chan mo Pokemon daisuki nano yo." First and foremost, we have this Uchi, which technically, in this case, I suspect it's simply Uchi, as in one's house, home, family, household. Unaccented, just like uchi, the one with the different kanji inside, within, and so on. It's worth mentioning that with such a structure, it could technically be also a first-person singular pronoun. Actually, in Kansai dialect, used by women and children, so technically it could work here, but it would be Kansai dialect, so I have doubts. It could be technically simply as mentioned, the one's house, home, and so on. Yeah, it's not clear. After that, we have to-chan. Well, first, of course, the possessive particle no. So yeah, of me, if it's again the sense of I'm me, or one's house and family, let's say in this case. Then we have to-chan, and yeah, it's from oto-san. And yeah, one again, like Oni-san mentioned before, to avoid the that you wanted to avoid the confusion there. But yeah, this one is father. Again, someone else's father, because yeah, it would be the honorific or respectful form. Can also be used technically in a familiar way, despite the term for father, when speaking to someone else about one's father, being tsuchi. Accent on the last chi, also because the first one should be unaccented. Should be the E barely heard if at all, because it's within a voice consonants, as usual. But yeah, last but not least, technically, it should exist the usage we have seen for person and so on, with around the age of what would be a father. But honestly, this one is not used usually. But yeah, technically all the usages we have seen for these. Quickly see. Okay. Then we have the inclusive particle mo, also even. Pokémon. Most likely implied subject particle ga. Because after that we have daisuki. Technically a compound adjective. From dai, here's simply the prefix. But yeah, it's the kanji for big we have studied in this very series, at the start of this very series, because it's one of the components of the kanji of red, as we have seen. But yeah, big. And then ski, with the U barely heard if at all, between our voice consonants, as usual. Ski means liking, being fond of, to one's liking, to one's taste, preferred, favorite. It's an adjective. And yeah, it's the most common way to say that you like something or someone, also romantically. As in the structure, as usual, someone wa, the someone or something ga, ski, and then of course being an adjective technically, if used at the end, then the copula da or des, depending on the register. So yeah, as for the someone or the other someone or something is preferred and so on. But yeah, here with the dai, so yeah, literally big liking, so yeah, liking very much, loving something or someone, adoring, being very fond of. Ski on its own is accented on the on the key. Usually people wouldn't accent it on the su, even if that were its spot, because of the barely heard effect of vowel. While da ski is accented actually on the da, so yeah, be careful, but actually it makes it easier in a way. After that we have na, the na adjective. In this case required because then we had no thing as in fact, and yeah, it with an adjective it requires the na before it. Technically, yeah, we could keep it as the thing as in fact, as mentioned. When used technically at the end of a sentence as a particle, indicates emotional emphasis, female term or language. That could be applied since we have this little girl here. Or actually could be simply, in this case actually, let's say also a confident conclusion, technically another usage, with a falling tone, of course. It's worth mentioning that with a rising tone, on the other hand, it indicates a question. So it's a replacement of the interrogative particle ka. But yeah. Then, final sentence particle yo, the usual you know, certainty, emphasis, and so on. But yeah. So yeah, here she's simply saying also my dad of my home. But yeah, technically yes, it would really work well with the pronoun here. Again, despite being a Kansai pronoun usually for female. Or actually also children, as mentioned, so actually it would work also in that sense, women and children. But yeah, also my dad really likes Pokemon. Pokemons are really preferred by him. You know. Oh yeah, pretty easy. Let's talk to the father. And then he says, nickname wo kangaeru koto wa tanoshii, suspension dots, ga muzukashii. So yeah, first and foremost we have nickname. Nickname. I think we might have straight up seen it because he should have asked us to give a nickname to our Bulbasaur, but we didn't give it one. Yeah, because we want to keep the names of the Pokemon in this case. But yeah, nickname from English nickname. Accent the same as in English. Then we have the object particle o written as wo and pronounced as such in careful speech and also singing. Then we have kangairu, a verb which like its accent means to think about, of, to think over. Yeah. So yeah, not a simple think, it's more like a think over, to ponder, and so on, similar translations, to contemplate, to reflect on, to meditate on. By extension, to consider, to bear in mind, and so on. To conclude, to suspect, yeah, or from technically to ponder. As for its accent, it's actually accent on the E. So yeah, funny enough, in this case, we've seen it before, both ways. We've seen the verb kairu, to return, to go back home, with the accent on the A. So third to last, mora, unlike the usual spot for the mora in accented verbs in their dictionary terminal form, because yeah, there ae became a diphthong, considered a diphthong. But yeah, in other verbs, including this one, we have the accent on the usual spot, so yeah, it doesn't become a diphthong. So yeah, on the e, kangaeru. I wanted to quickly check because I haven't ever seen it, and I'm not sure if I find the I find it. Okay, yeah, it's actually an uncertain derivation, because yeah, especially with that ga in the middle, it kind of looks like a compound. But yeah, there are technically, it's not certain. So yeah, for now I'd say let's ignore it, although yeah, the suspicion immediately would be that the kaeru is kaeru to change, and then something else. I see various possibilities here with ka, like the ko in as in place in koko, doko, and so on. Kan, which means perception, intuition, unaccented, that one. But yeah, let's not focus on it. The one with can, honestly, would be it's quite useful at the very least, considering the perception technically, and so still related in a way to think about, to think over, to ponder in a way. And honestly, it's the easiest. It's the easiest form anyway. Literally would be kan plus kaeru. So yeah, technically, yeah, as it says, would be to change one's perception, the original meaning, in that sense. And yeah, honestly. By the way, I've just seen, when I checked it on Wiktionary for those origins, it exists also the other accent with like Kairu accented. Yeah, so Ae as a diphthong, but yeah, both exist technically. Yeah. But yeah, then we have Koto, the other nominalizer, because yeah, we have seen the nothing as in fact also nominalizer for verbs, technical adjectives. And yeah, Koto is the other one, thing as in matter. So yeah, here simply thinking, or to think. Then we have the topic particle wa written as ha. And so yeah, as for thinking of nicknames, tanoshi, so yeah, any adjective should be accented. We've seen it before. It means fun, enjoyable, pleasant, happy, delightful. But yeah, fun, the fundamental meaning. accented, yes. And then here we have the suspension dots, but yeah. Technically, then the sentence continues, so yeah, it would be Tanoshi ga, the conjunction, which means but. And yeah, in this case, straight up simply but. We've seen technically and in translation in certain cases, and also used for introductory remarks or explanations. But yeah, here simply it's fun, but muzukashi, which means difficult, another E adjective. This one I'm not sure its accent, because I don't think we have seen it much, if at all. Accented, okay. We have seen, funny enough, other forms of technically would use the same kanji. Nowadays, usually not. Yeah, it's the one for technically gatai, katai, katai, found in arigato, with all the changes were mentioned before. Nikui, the one used nowadays as the suffix, technically we make a compound verb with compound verb in a way. Difficult to, hard to do the action of the verb before it, with which it makes a compound. But yeah, so yeah, here simply says, as for thinking of nicknames, it's fun, but difficult, hard. Then he says, Kotta nickname mo ii ga oboe yasui no ga ichiban yana. Okay, yeah, considering that, I straight up think this confirms, because yeah, the girl didn't seem to speak particularly Kansai Ben, except for the pronoun uchi, which was perfect in that position. Yeah, here also the father uses another thing that, yeah, this one is typically typical of Kansai Ben. So yeah, I think these characters straight up use Kansai Ben, speaking Kansai Ben. Let me quickly check. Yeah, I wanted to only check quickly again the accent when adding Ben as a suffix for dialect. We've seen it when we met another character speaking Kansai Ben in the Pokémon Center of this very city. I wanted to check it just to be completely sure, even though I think I know it. Yeah, it becomes unaccented, cioè easier, Tokyo Ben, Kansai Ben, yeah, despite no matter what the accent of the word before it is. In the case of Kansai, accent on the first mora on its own, the second most common accent for Chinese compounds like itself. But yeah, first this character says Kotta. Technically, it's from a verb, koru. On its own, it's accented. It means to become stiff of muscles, so Yeah, unfortunately, would have applied to my stiff neck technically. That I had this Monday. But yeah, usually, while of course it does have still that meaning, it can also have more used in extended figurative meanings. For example, to get absorbed in, to develop a passion for, and so on. Also to be elaborate, to be intricate, to be particular about. Verb, golden verb, so we can, to make data form, like in this case, we have to follow the rules. It's in rules, so it becomes double consonant I again. We change the U into I to make the continuative form Kori Ta, but then the I fell, Korta, difficult to pronounce, so simply became double consonant Ta. It's actually, I found it in the dictionary as is, Kotta, because yeah, it's considered a word technically, an expression, I should say better, on its own. And yeah, in this case, actually, in the sense, the last sense we have seen for the verb, so yeah, elaborate, exquisite, ornate, refined, sophisticated. So yeah, technically stiff, but yeah, in the sense that something is elaborate and so on. So yeah, that's clearly our meaning here. Technically, there's another cotta, but yeah, that's an expression, and usually in another context, we'll see it again. I think we might have seen it once, actually. But yeah. Verb in ta, past form of the verb in plain speech, and also following. After it we have a noun, so yeah, verb in attributive position. Again, in this case, a prenominalist, as in this case for the expression, but yeah, that's the typical spot for verbs in attributive position. If there were something else in addition to the verb, we would have straight up a relative clause. Again, we have then nickname, mo, inclusive particle. Then we have the I, the adjective which means good, I, yoi, I used and it's when not conjugated, it's the most common form nowadays. Yoi comes back when we conjugate it. Yokunai, it isn't good for the negative. Yokata, it was good, and so on. Then we have a genga, so yeah, it's good, but. And then we have oboe yasui. First and foremost, we're from oboeru, which we have seen before in this very series, to memorize, to commit to memory, to learn by heart, and then simply to remember by, and by extension also to learn, to pick up, to acquire. After ru verb, it's an verb, so we can drop the ru to make the continuative form. In this case, required to add yasui. And yeah, it's actually the opposite of nikui, which you have seen. It's the form for the adjective hard, difficult, to say hard, difficult to do with a verb. Also in the continuative form mass stem. And yeah, yasui exactly the same, but the opposite meaning, easy. Now that I actually have the physical dictionary already here, I want to check its accent if we can find it. And yeah, when adding it to... Okay, yasui seems to be accented according to the physical dictionary, always on the... It's accented, so yeah, on the su. Kai Yasui, for example, easy to buy. Yomi Yasui, easy to read, and so on. So in our case, easy to remember. This is the better meaning for our case. Nikui, I want to check. Hopefully, it will also be accented always, but we'll see. Let me quickly see. Okay, not that one, this one. And yeah, luckily also always accented. Kikinikui, difficult to hear. Kakinikui, difficult to write, and so on. Yeah. Perfect. So, pretty easy. I think I was thinking of other words that are more complex, but yeah, this one really easy actually. Then we have the no to nominalize it in this case. And also actually then to simply to add the subject particle ga. Here it would be technically as in the no more than the nominalizer would be kind of like a pronoun. One as in or ones. Again the singular or plural depending on the context, because the word can be either in Japanese, nouns can be either singular or plural. We can further specify the plural with pluralizing suffixes and so on, but yeah, it's not required. Except for certain words, but yeah, I want to move away. But yeah, here simply so ones, and then technically a relative clause, so yeah, ones that are of the verb in attributive position that are easy to remember. Subject particle ga. Ichiban, which we have seen before, it literally means number one. Numera plus counter combination, ban is number. In this case, it has also other meanings on its own. Chinese origin, so we use Chinese numerals, except for the usual exceptions, but mostly Chinese numerals, as usual. Yeah, literally number one, but yeah, in this case it becomes, then by extension, best, most, yeah, typical. The accent of Ichiban is actually before the chi. There are some that unfortunately are unaccented. But yeah, the other ones are all accented before ban. And yeah, then we actually have the ya, which is what mostly gives away that this character technically is speaking Kansai Ben together with the kid, as we have seen. Yeah, because ya is the copula in Kansai Ben. And then we also have this na, yeah, combined with that. We have seen that I don't think we might not have straight up seen it, but I've at least mentioned it because of the confusion of all the translations of na, the final sentence particle. Yeah, in Kansai dialect, it has the meanings right, isn't it, and so on. And yeah, it's the same as the ne in standard Japanese. Confirmation or agreement. And yeah, so the translation is simply elaborated nicknames are also good, but ones that are easy to remember are literally number one, so yeah, the best. right. And yeah, in our case, really easy to remember from Oni Suzume, as we see. We only keep the Oni and then add Chan. Okay, let me quickly check out around the house here. This one we've seen before. This one also. Actually, this counts as still. This we can check the bin. This one we should have seen that the Pokemon is on TV. Yeah, we've seen that before. This does nothing. I don't think also the plant. We have checked this before. So yeah, the only thing left inside here is this. Yeah, I have waited that. And yeah, actually here we can see the name of Spearow in Japanese, Oni Suzume. Yeah, at this point I'll actually straight up mention it. We repeat it when we actually see a Spearow. And yeah, Oni, as we've mentioned already, it's ogre, that demon, centered on the last syllable on its own. The new part is Suzume, which is, if it wasn't, you can guess it also based on the context, the name of a bird. In particular, it's Sparrow, a tree sparrow specifically. Funny enough, then by extension it becomes also figuratively a talkative or knowledgeable person. But yeah, Suzume is tree sparrow, unaccented on its own. I want to maybe check its origin, if I can find it. Because yeah, that's Suzu. Suspiciously. No, not present. Not sure why we have the me after it then, if that's the case. But yeah, the Suzu could be, for example, the word for bell. Maybe because of the sound they make with their cry. Suzu unaccented means bell, often globular, so actually small bells, not big bells found in Japan in temples. Here in Europe would be in Italy, in churches and so on. Not those are called kane. Should be also an accent, yes, yeah, clearly in that case. Most likely, I don't remember if I've straight up seen it, but yeah, as a reminder, kane, the one we've studied, even its kanji means metal, by extension then money. So yeah, bell, a large hanging bell, made of metal, so yeah, most likely because of that. But yeah, this one would be a small globular bell. But yeah. And yeah, so we had Oni Suzume, so yeah, literally ogre, demon, sparrow is the Japanese name of Spearow. I actually checked it also on Pulpopedia just to be sure, but yeah, it should be simply that. Straight up from Oni and Suzume. Pretty easy. Ah yeah. Then we have this meme. I suspect from yeah, it's the compound in this case, Chinese compound. an accent, so like most of those, it means naming, christening, naming. The second me, you could guess it also because the second me, in this case, not the first one, is the one that as the strictly Japanese reading na, the one for name we have mentioned it before, we haven't studied it yet, but so that. Okay, so we have checked this house out, we can leave. As we have seen last time, here we can't do anything, we can climb these, of course. Here we have the drunken old man blocking us. Here's the trainer school, we've already spoken to that guy, we've checked out the tree, the Pokemon Center, talked to this boy. So all that's left, and I kept it for last for a reason, as we see. We have the shop, yes, the upstairs shop there. We check what it says actually here. Pokemon Guzu ga ippai. And after that, friendly shop after the exclamation mark. First we have Pokemon, of course, Guzu. From goods, from English, clearly. Let's see if it's also its accent. So it is. Then the subject particle ga, and then ippai. As we've seen, ippai, originally numeral plus counter combination with high. Actually, originally ippai, and so this one with the contractions like ichi pi that becomes ippai with the doubling of the following constant. Keep the original p. But we have seen high, bowl, cup, and so bowl full, cup full, glass full then by extension. With the number one cup, one glass, one bowl. When in its original meaning accented before high, on the E in this case, because the accent can stay on the small su. But when used in this meaning, most likely, so by extension it becomes full, fully, to capacity, and then so simply a lot, much, many. In that sense, it becomes then unaccented. We have seen when checking out the physical dictionary. So be careful about that. And good thing I had checked because I remembered it. I had the online dictionary plus plugin combo doesn't mention it. That's one aspect that good thing I have the physical dictionaries as well. But so here technically here would be an implied then because most likely an implied aru to be assumed to exist of inanimate things, objects like in this case goods, to be assumed to exist, then in translation there is, there are, implied here simply. And by the way, again also the structure ga we have seen for liking something with applies also here with someone, topic particle wa, something ga, and then aru or iru, an accent, the one to be to exist for animate things, so people and animals. There are for that person with the topic particle, that something exists. So yeah, actually it's one of the most common ways to make the verb to have in Japanese. And in this case we could translate who have a lot of Pokemon goods, or we could keep it as there are here implied many Pokemon goods. Yeah, then its name, Friendly Shop, as we have seen because we met it's one of its shop clerks. I think its straight up was the term 10 in there. Yeah, funny enough, the in we've studied in this very series because it's part of the it's a component of the kanji for yen. But yeah, in member, so yeah, shop member, literally 10 in, unaccented Chinese compound, salesperson. Yeah, friendly shop, so yeah, simply straight up from English. We can confirm it, but yeah, again, I suspect in this case the accent would be, we would keep the one of the second word part of the compound, as typical for these compounds with English words. But yeah, we actually check this. Yeah, I didn't want to do it, but yeah, as you can see, immediately when you enter the shop assistant, the clerk, talks to you. And yeah, I'd say it makes more sense here to take our usual break now, around 5 minutes, most likely slightly less, so that yeah, when we'll be back, we check out what he has to say. And yeah, so straight up when you enter, this starts because yeah, it's actually the continuation of the story, as we'll see, of the game. So yeah, see you in around 5 minutes. And we are back. Yeah, so we can continue. We can now check what the shop assistant Kane mentioned Japanese says. First and foremost, we straight up have a O with the exclamation mark. So in this case, straight up like O in English. An expression of slight surprise as it mentions the dictionary just technically accented. It uses an exclamation so you usually distinguish it anyway. And then it says, Kimi wa Masara Town kara kitanda ne. First and foremost, Kimi, second person singular pronoun, you, for a single person. Yeah, pronouns are cases in which you would actually usually specify with a pluralizing suffix, or actually there are several ways for, depending on the pronoun, to make the plural, as we see when they show up. Kimi, an accented familiar language, sometimes considered also in language as a dictionary, referring to someone of equal or lower status. Clearly we can use it for someone of higher status, considering that it's a familiar language also. Topic particle 1. As for you, Masara Town, Hale Town, Japanese name, as you have seen, already checked its origin. Then we have the particle kara, from. Then we have ta, which comes from the verb kuru, to come, as in actually, first and foremost, to come literally, as in the movement. To make its form, unfortunately, kuru is completely irregular, just like suru, turu. So yeah, we simply have to remember that its continuative form is ki, and then we simply attach ta to it. So rake in that case, kuru and suru work like kuru verbs, islam verbs, in the te and ta forms formation. So yeah, kita, despite being accented, kuru, the ta form is actually accented on the ta itself because the e is barely heard of, if at all, the key between these consonants. So usually most move the accent because of that. And then we have the usual nda from noda, the noun we've already seen, da the copula is an expression. Literally, it is that. So yeah, the fact is that, explanation is that, and so on. Last but not least, the final sentence particle net, usual one, right? And then actually the question mark to mark here in a written text that there's actually a rising tone. But yeah, rising intonation. But yeah, as for you, you came from Hale Town, Masara Town. It is that you came from Masara Town, right? Oh yeah. If you press then we move automatically up to the clerk. Makes sense. And then he says, Okido Hakase o Shitteru ne? And the usual Okido Hakase, Professor Oak, Okid, Japanese. Hakase again, actually. Expert on its own. As a suffix, actually a colloquial way to for doctor, PhD. Technically, Dr. Oak, professor, in English it became professor, Hakase accented by the way of the on its own, and I suspect also as a title here, we can confirm it. And we have the verb, we have the object particle of, and then the verb shiteru, from shiru, to know. Technically, to get to know, that's it. It's strictly, its meaning strictly would be to know. But it's useful, I spy, but yeah, it's worth mentioning to say, to think more of it like to get to know, technically. Because of this usage here, as we'll see in a second, by either way, unaccented verb, colon verb, despite being noticed that it's in she, ru, so technically in iru, so the verbs, ru verbs, Ichidan verbs are in iru and eru, but yeah, there are some of verbs in iru and eru that are actually kodan verbs, and this is one of them. And yeah, you can see it when conjugating them, in this case with that form, with the notative form, would be shiri mas. Not for this one, not for this verb, usually we say why, and that's why I mentioned that. But yeah, verb, kodan verb, so we have to follow the rules to make that form, again in rules becomes the constant then. The form required, because then we add iru, here contracted into ru, we drop the e. But yeah, iru is mentioned to be assumed to exist on its own, but yet when used after the form of a verb, becomes an auxiliary with the meaning continuing state or action. So yeah, with action, literally would be like to be doing the action of the verb in time. I noticed that it's, in the sense, it's quite similar to technically English. Well, technically more than English, even more so other languages. Like for example, Spanish immediately comes to mind. Estar. But yeah, or in the continuing state, meaning to have add whatever the verb says. Yeah, we've seen this before, just as a reminder. But yeah, actually, it's required here when we use the verb shiru, when we mean that someone knows something, or someone in our case here, because yeah, in that sense it's better to think of shiru as to get to know, because yeah, to make then the form that you already know something or someone, you have to make the te iru form, you have to pass the te iru form. in the affirmative. In the negative, it becomes simply the negative form of shiru, shiranai, shirimasen, the form. But yeah, negative. If you don't know, you didn't get to know the someone. That's technically a trick, a tip to remember that you would usually find it in this teiru form, you know someone or something. And then again, as the sparkle. You know Professor Oak, right? So continue. First we have, well, it says here, これ頼まれてるんだけど渡してくれるかい? First we have これ part of the Kosovo series for those two, both the speaker and the listener. So far from the speaker goes to the listener, apart from both. Though the interrogative also I usually an accent, though accent for itself. And in this case, this goes to the speaker, so it's required. With the re, it becomes the demonstrative pronoun, this or these, in singular or plural, in this case, this, as we see. Then we have an implied particle. Should be a ga, so the subject particle, let's say, because after that we have the verb anomareteru. From first and foremost anomu, to be entrusted with, well, actually, anomu on its own to entrust to, actually on its own can also have the meanings to request, beg, to ask. By extension, then also to call, to order, to reserve. Yeah. The fundamental meanings usually are request, and also in this then to entrust to. Un verb con un verb. Accent, I don't think I mentioned yet it. So, you can change the u to a, then add reru. Here we can see the u because of further conjugation. To make the passive form of the verb. So yeah, that's why most likely that there's an implied subject particle. This is entrusted to be employed. Then we have actually for the conjugation, the passive form of the verb is a ru verb itself verb. So we can simply drop the ru, make the completed form, and then add te. Again required because we had iru contracted as so we only ru containing action or state. So in our case, technically state has been entrusted. Then after that we have nda, again, the fact is that, and so on, is that literally. Then we have this kedo, which is actually another conjunction, but, so it's just like ga, ga as we have seen technically has also all those other meanings, all those those other usages. But yeah, usually the fundamental distinction is that the ka is more formal, say, kedo. This one is straight up in, usually used in plain speech, as you can see here. But yeah, simply but. Notice that technically the meaning is but. Yeah, it's again a similar usage as ka. So yeah, say this has been entrusted to me, but so yeah, kind of like an introduction in a sense. Because yeah, after that it says wataste from watasu, I think an accent about muchaka, a verb which means to technically its original meanings are to ferry across a river, carry across, to traverse. By extension also to lay, to build across. But yeah, most likely from that meaning then we have this the meaning to hand over and then to pass. Technically to give, but yeah, it also specific meanings with to transfer. Yeah, unaccented, that's correct. Verb god and verb, so verb to follow the rules to make the form, like easy in so yeah, we set it up, change it to it, the continuous form, and the form, in this case, we then add kureru. This one straight up one of the verbs of giving, as in straight up to give. Kureru in particular, unaccented. The receiver is the speaker, or someone close to the speaker, even though it's straight up still the verb give. So if someone gives, someone else gives to me, or someone close to me, whoever is speaking, someone close to the speaker. In this case, after the form of a verb, the verbs of giving then had the meaning to do the favor of doing that verb of the verb, to do the action of the verb in time. Last but not least, we have this kai. You might have guessed it already. The ka is derived clearly from the interrogative particle ka. But this one is peculiar because technically it says the dictionary familiar language. Yes, no, isn't it? Is it? Indicates the question, says the dictionary, sometimes rhetorical. But what's worth mentioning is that usually this kai is specifically used for yes and no questions. Here we can adapt it, we might adapt it, as we see. Yeah, the translation is this has been entrusted to me. Well, it is that this has been entrusted to me, but we could then adapt it in this case. I wonder if you could do me the favor of literally handing it over. I wonder if you could hand it over for me. Implied, actually in Japanese, shown by the tekureru form. So that's why actually this forms this te plus verb So here are so important in Japanese also to see who does the favor in favor of whom. Oh yeah, so said that. Said there. Yeah, to see this. In this case, actually different compared to the usual forms we see when getting an item. Yeah, in this case it says Red wa shop kara otodoke mono o azukatta. First and foremost, Red, the name of our protagonist, Red. Wa, the topic particle, as for Red. Shop. Kara, from the shop. So in this case, in the sense, the shop as in those working at the shop. The shop as those working in it. And then we have this otodoke mono. Wonder if I find it as is technically in the dictionary. No, I can't find it. But yeah, it's pretty easy because technically, maybe without the honorific prefix, actually I can find it. But yeah, first we have the honorific prefix as mentioned, o. And then we have this todoke mono, a compound noun from todoke, which actually comes from the verb todokeru, actually accented todokeru. I think we have seen so far only todoku, the intransitive form of the verb, to reach other extended meanings, including to be delivered, to arrive. Todokeru means to deliver, to forward, to send, but yeah, more specifically to deliver. By the way, you might have heard todoke on its own should be accented on the last syllable. It is when used on its own. You might have heard it in the title of a certain anime, Kimi ni Todoke. The accent should be then Kimi ni Todoke. In that case, arriving at you. But yeah, todokeru, ru verb is a verb, so we can drop the ru to make the conjugative form, todoke. Technically can be used as the noun, as the corresponding noun, so report, notification, registration, usually on its own. Here, clearly to then actually make the compound noun with mono. Mono, the word for thing as in object. We've even studied this kanji. So funny enough, you could already write that. So todoke mono, an accent, so be careful. We have seen some of these compounds that become an accent, but yeah, be careful about that. Not the usual accents due to being a compound, a strictly Japanese one at that. Literally, thing to be delivered. Article says the dictionary, article to be delivered. Technically, then by extension, present, but yeah, no. Let's stick to the actual translation, to the literal translation, because yeah, there are other words, better words for present technically. But yeah, thing to be delivered, article to be delivered, here with also the honorific prefix, most likely also an accent then. We have the auxiliary particle O, and then we have Azucat. From Azukaru, we have seen actually this verb before in this very series at the Pokémon Center. To take care of. Should be accented. Yes, it is. U-verb, codon verb. So to make that a form, again, we follow the rules. It's in Russo, becomes double consonant ta. Ta form, so past form of the verb in plain speech. So yeah, as for Red, it would become another translation for Azucar would be to hold on to. Well, in this case, better the second meaning of the verb. To be put in charge of, to be given responsibility for, to be entrusted with. So in our case, as for Red, he got entrusted with the article to be delivered, the thing to be delivered from the shop. Okay. Yeah, can actually go back to the game. I think this is more or less the same as that we have seen before. The structure, but there are some differences, so we go to Red wa otodokemono Red wa otodokemono o taisetsu na mono o poketto ni, cioè legarsi in between taisetsu na mono o poketto ni shimatta. Red wa is for red. Otodokemono, the object, the item. Object particle O. Then we have Taisetsu, means important. Yeah, funny enough, Taisetsu na mono, yeah, literally important thing. There's also a pretty famous song in Japanese called like that. By the way, a song that if you have played Posta Takai or and now you have heard, because it's also present in that game. But yeah, Taisetsu I think should be an accented is unsurprising since it's actually a Chinese compound. The Tai, by the way, is with the kanji of big. So yeah, one of those words that actually use the reading, the Chinese reading Tai instead of Dai. Dai is the more common one. Yeah, some words also use Tai, and this is one of them. That's why it's important to remember it. Setsu, by the way, on the other hand, is cat. From the verb is the kanji for kiru, cat. Literally with cat. Of course, actually, figuratively, actually, it has the means important, significant, serious, crucial, by extension, then also precious, valuable, dear, cherished, beloved. Like in the Taisetsu na mono, you can see here also that song. Funny enough, Taisetsu na mono straight up also you can see it in the in the example on the online dictionary for that meaning. Again, the adjective, so na, and then we have mono. Here simply again the one for fingers in object. And then immediately after we have pocketto, cioè pocket, from English, straight up also in Pokétto Monster, from which the abbreviation Pokémon pretty famous because of Pokémon. By the way, it's worth mentioning again that the accent is on the K, so be careful. It's one of those words technically with a different accent compared to English. In English it would be pocket. It's on the K, Pokétto. So yeah, literally, important thing, then we could adapt items, and I think that's the case in this translation. Pocket, technically it becomes again a compound. My suspicion is that, considering that the accent actually kept the one only of Pokétto, again, the rule, or at least standards you have seen. Like I suppose for the friendly shop. Then we have the particle ni, to, as in into. And yeah, then we have the verb shimatta, shimau, to end, to finish. Also used as an auxiliary verb, as we have seen. Straight up finish, as in to completely. After that, the form of a verb. To end up doing, so doing accidentally and so on. Here actually it's one of the other meanings of shimau as on its own an accent of shimau, which is to put away, put back, to keep, to store. We've actually seen it. Well, in this series for sure, maybe before that. Yeah. Verb code and verb to make that ta form for the rules. It's in also becomes the more constant again because verbs in u were actually in pu, in u as in actually straight up the with the mora u at the end, not as in verb code and verb. Right? Yeah, those with u endings, so straight up the kana u. We're actually in pu, so with the older kana writing was as in pu, originally pu, so we change the u into we, make the consecutive form, shina, shima, ita, then the ifel, shima, ta, and so difficult to pronounce became double consonant ta, again. The form of the verb was plain speech. He put away the thing to deliver, be delivered, into, that's why we have the particle ni, the important item, a pocket, the important thing, pocket. Actually with that, we check out around the shop now, so we can get that out of the way. Okay, yeah, we can't. Good thing I talked to the clerk. Yeah, you can't actually purchase anything for now. Instead, it says za. So yeah, contracted technically here. As it would be za, usually with a longer vowel. But that is actually a contraction of dewa. Dewa technically, the form of the copula. Wa after it, the topic particle. So actually, when I've used the topic particle after the form of a verb, it means as for that case. So then, by extension, if that's the case, and if, more literally, if that's the case, as for that being the case, with the, you can see, when translating like that, why we use the topic particle. So yeah, I actually used technically as a conjunction. Then, well then, so that. Actually used also as an interjection for by then, even though it's it will be ja with additional parts, usually simply at the very least mata again, and then implied the meeting, let's meet. So yeah, ja mata is actually also ja ne, when I see with the final sentence particle ne. Oh yeah, technically in this case, well, either could work technically. Oh yeah, in this case, let's say, well then, we could say also, by then, technically could work. And then we have Pokido Hakase ni Yoroshiku. Technically, we have first like Pokido Hakase, Professor Oak, the particle ni to, which could work in the sense of to Professor Oak, the package. And then we have this Yoroshiku from Yoroshi, any adjective, which means good. It's actually straight up the honorific, more specifically respectful form of E, like the same meanings, good, okay, right, and so on. Oh yeah, straight up the respectful form. Yoroshi accepted. Yeah, in this case, the adjective, so we can drop the E, but could to make that technically would be the conjugative form, also known as the adverbial form. And in this case would be actually used as an adverb technically. Well, and then actually in this case there would be implied on its own. Can be used, clearly actually contraction of Yoroshiku onegaishimasu. Yoroshiku onegaishimasu, literally, we have the Yoroshiku, well. Then we have O, the honorific prefix, negai, which actually comes from negau, accent actually, so nega, no, I know, to desire, wish, hope, by extension and also to beg, request, by changing the U into we, make the conjugative form. And technically I also saw the corresponding noun. This one accented on the ga, so not as usual. Usually accented verbs would be then accented on the last syllable. I suspect that in this case it's because I becomes a diphthong, so you can explain it easily a bit better. So desire, wish, hope, request, and so on. Extension. Technically, you would say yeah, in this case it would be the corresponding noun with the honorific prefix, and then we add the verb shimasu. Suru, literally to do a request in this case. Suru, completely regular as mentioned, its continuity form is she, and so to attach mas, the auxiliary verb, used to make the boy form of verbs. It's worth mentioning though that this structure, verb in its continuity form with the honorific prefix before it, and then with the verb suru, is actually a way to make a humble form of verbs. As you have seen in this very game, I think it was still also in the Pokémon Center. So yeah, technically an humble form. I humbly request you to do something, and then we have the Yoroshiku at the start, while technically Yoroshiku, by the way, accented on the ro, actually regular because the accent of the adverbial form is on the third to last mora, so it moves from the second to last mora of the adjective in its dictionary form. Yeah, regular. Yeah, so this structure, this expression, yoroshiku onegaishimasu, what? Expression. Fundamentally, would be technically these move, these take care of something, like in our case. It's also used technically by extension from that. Please implied remember me, or please help me, please do well. And so yeah, it's actually this expression used for I look forward to working with you, and so yeah, actually used when you meet someone for the first time. They're saying that hajimemashite, as you have seen literally by beginning, by starting, I start and yeah, you would usually hajimemashite, do your introduction, say I'm called your name, his name, can also be simply des, so with the copula, but there are better ways to literally to say I'm called and so on, check them when they show up. And then it usually ends with dozo, yoroshiku onegaishimasu. Also with the addition of dozo, which we have seen. Is this additional adverb. It's kind of like a please. Kindly and so on. Actually check. Maybe I could find it. Yeah, no, also the technically also which I mentioned that also would come from do, how, and how. How is typically a language. Also how was mentioned there. And so the emphatic particle nowadays considered the more language of not in that case of that specific expression. Oh yeah, wanted to mention that since it's quite important. So yeah, I please implied hand it to Professor Rock. Okay, so we can actually now check out the shop itself. First we have these Ironna Dogu ga Narandeiru. First we have Ironna from accented the syllable on its own color, but with the dubbing becomes most likely originally various colors nowadays いろいろ unaccented careful values and that's it value something いろいろな adjective contracted also like you can see here as いろんな and we have togu yeah we have seen that it's a term would mean instrument accent on the syllable despite being Chinese compounds of the careful to implement the instrument items in games. Accent on the syllable so actually would be heard the accent here toguga low high high low the part of the particle and then we have naranderu from narabu line up as you stand accented action so unaccented seen it before verb con purpose to make the form water was its solution because of the change the u into we take the continuity form narabi and they final so only actually in classical Japanese voice the consonants were nasalized so b and that's where the comes from and also why would it then change the voiced but also nasalized like that like that with the nasal before it and yeah the form again are lined up the various items are lined up yeah we check also this first is exclamation wow so yeah straight up like wow in this case like in English Pokémon Guzu ga takusan soroteru Pokémon Guzu most like accent on the Guzu also on its own most like only that accent here as well particle ga takusan an adverb which means many a lot accented on the sun well technically when the word on its own but I think it's actually then unaccented when used as a verb in the usual context you find it in by the way in the meantime the U is very early for the because it's written on those consonants yeah here it is in its usual position as an adverb before a verb it's unaccented when used technically as a noun usually and taking the genitive case particle the possessive particle no to make in practice an adjective could also straight up be an adjective according to the dictionary in that case it's actually accented despite the possessive particle so you have to be careful because that usually will make the words accent on the final syllable actually or not just the final vowel unaccented this is an exception takusan no for example dictionary takusan no hana a lot of flowers, many flowers. Oh yeah, here usual usage, so yeah, accented, accent, and then soroteru, sorrow. as simple to gather, to assemble, to be collected. Better to be collected, technically. Because the other ones, the translation we have other forms. Whatever. Sorrow accepted. Verb, again into, cioè causa the consonant, and then again true, so actually cioè a lot of Pokémon goods are collected, are gathered. Easy. I think these lateral ones should have the same. The same thing. I want to check here. This one actually says again, Ironado Uga, like above. We can speak to the Kirk also from here, technically. Say nothing. So yeah, last but not least, we have to talk to these two customers, fellow customers. This one says Kizugusuri Kawanakya. First and foremost, we have Kizugusuri. I know we've already seen it. We straight up got one of them. Literally, wound medicine compound of strictly Japanese origin. So we have the voicing of the second word part of the compound for the first one. Usuri would be its own accented. Kizu also accented on its own. Wound and then medicine. Usuri accented is one of the two, so on the first word of the second word part of the compound, so typical small word. The accent of such compounds, some ointment portion, then implied an object particle, and then we have the verb kawanaka, from kau, to buy, accented. Verb, code verb, so we can change the u into a. Being a verb in u, it becomes actually wa, because again it was originally pu. That verb changed into wa, we, u. That one stayed the same u. We, wa. Nowadays only the y remained. That's why we changed the u into a to make the realis not yet state. Nowadays we will simply say negative form of the verb. I had to then add nai, non-existent, as an adjective on its own, to make the negative form in plain speech. But it doesn't stop there in this case. We have this kya at the end. We've seen it at least once before in this series. It's actually more complex because it's a contraction of kawana-ke-reba and then implied narimasen or ikemasen. But first, the adjective, we changed it. We dropped the i and add ku. In this case, technical program form better to keep it in mind as a continuative form because it's used for further conjugation. In this case by adding the verb aru. In particular, we change the u aru to verb column verb, so we change the u into e to then add ba and make the one of the conditional forms. If when also can have a temporal meaning conditional stuff. The closest to the first condition, not always as we've seen, of course. So kawanaku areba then gets contracted into kawanake ku a becomes ke. Kawanake reba, and nowadays is we only use the contracted form nakereba, not naku areba, nakereba, for the adjectives. Cioè to make the conditional of the negative. And then we added, we would add narimasen. Literally, it doesn't become naru, verb. Change the u into i, make the continuity form, then add mas. Here actually masen, so the negative form of mas in the affirmative, not the affirmative, in the present. Or ikemasen from iku to go literally, change the u into e, iku to verb, so we can change the u into e, and then technically the ru to make the potential form of the verb can go, and then we drop verb is and verb, but then it becomes the potential form. So we drop the ru, make the continuity form, and then masen again. So literally narimasen doesn't become, or ikemasen can't go, implied well, can go well, can become a good thing. So yeah, this structure literally with this verb here kau, if you, in this case I, if I don't buy, it doesn't become a good thing, it can't go well. So it's actually this structure used for must, have to. You can see why in casual speech nakereba narimasen, nakereba ikemasen gets contracted in na kya. So that kya is big from kereba, and then narimasen, ikemasen. Well, of course in plain speech actually naranai, kenai. So yeah, here is simply saying, despite the quite long explanation, I have to buy potions, or you should. Technically, I could be saying it in general as a suggestion, so you should buy, you have to buy potions. Then he says, Itsu, Pokémon no Tairyoku ga tarinaku naru ka? Then he continues actually, but let's start. First we have Itsu, interrogative pronoun, which means when. Accent should be on the first molar. Like most of these interrogative pronouns, by the way. Accent on the first molar. Pokémon, then we have the possessive particle. So, of Pokémon. Dario, we've seen it often, is a very town. Stamina, literally body strength, so physical strength. Accent on the first molar, it's a Chinese compound, so it's the second most common accent for those. Subject particle ga. Tarinaku comes from taru. Well, actually, no. From tariru. Tariru means to be sufficient, to be enough. Unaccented. Verb is a verb, so you can drop the ru to make the real is not yet state form, the negative form, and nai simply. And then actually drop the nai, notative form, verb form, here required because then we add the verb naru to become, we mentioned. So in this case, to become, and then with the adverbial form, the adjective here with who for any adjective, ni for an adjective, or also with a noun, become the something. Then we have this car, technically interrogative particle, but as we see, most likely, because I suspect the sentence continues, it's actually used in this case for an indirect technically question. I'd say better quotation in this case. You see why in a second. The part up to here says when the Pokemon stamina becomes insufficient, not enough. After that we have Wakanai Monne from Wakaru, Wakanai, to understand. Most likely become here to be known, found out, and so on. Considering that there's also the verb wakaru, which means wakaru, to divide, to split into, to sort out, to divide out, cioè technically to sort out. The one in Eru is the transitive verb, the one in Aru is the intransitive, and most likely the one in Aru is actually originally a classical, a passive classical form of the verb, simply the intransitive form of the verb. Cioè from that sort out technically become clear, nowadays usually used as in to understand. Actually with, as we can see there, with, we can see it here by with, technically we will require the ga, the subject article. Ma yeah, verb verb, so we can say that into a, again the negative form, wakara, to then nai, and then simply gets contracted, wakaranai, wakanai. And then last but not least we have this mono, technically, again the thing as an object. Again, when used at the end of the sentence, it's actually used to, it has several usages, to emphasize emotion, judgment, and so on. To indicate a general tendency, something that should happen. Well, in this case, let's say, technically, the form, first one, to emphasize well, you could say something that should happen technically still. But yeah, monogat gets contracted into mon because of the following name, this particle. I guess so. You don't understand, so actually then by extension becomes you don't know when, literally if as in then the indirect as in the indirect quotation when that in this case you don't know when the stamina of your Pokemon implied might become insufficient first of all, she says, ねえ、この店の売れ筋は毒消しなんだって。First we have this ね、interjection. Yeah, technically from ne as a final sentence part used in this case at the start of a sentence. So yeah, actually used more like as a hey, say, listen, look. Then we have pronoun, the demonstrative adjective is or these, like these in this case. Say, shop, should be an accented. By extension, it becomes also establishment in general and can also be a restaurant. And now accented as say. It should be actually an accent because we apply the rule, no? It makes it an accent, it said no. Then we have this uresuji. Clearly a compound noun. I haven't heard it personally, but it's pretty clear the meaning because it comes from ureru. The fundamental verb would be uru, accented to sell, transitive form of the verb. Ureru, also accented. Technically, is to sell well. So yeah, something sells in transitive, but yeah, usually implied well. By extension, that to be well known, to be popular, to be famous. Ureru, verbs and verbs can adopt the root and continuative form. In this case, to then attach the second noun part of the compound. Suji. I think we might have seen it before. Accent on the first mora. The suji. I roll. Literally, it's muscle, angle, sinew. Several extended meanings. I think we have seen before, for example, reason, logic. Well, actually, we have seen it in this very series because of the summary at the start, I think. Not that I think about it, but yeah. Anyway, in this case, in our case here, line. You can see why from muscle and by extension it becomes line stripe. So yeah, literally line selling implied well. So actually popular line products, best selling line, or sellers. The accent is on the re. So actually on the last mora of the first word part of the compound, again one of the typical spots for the accent of such compounds. Yeah, either the final mora of the first word part of the compound or the first mora of the second word part of the compound, as we have seen. So, that line. Doku Keshi. We have seen it in the trainer school. Antidote, literally poison, the liter. Doku, so scented on the last syllable, poison. Keshi from Kesu, to delete, to erase. An accent which includes the form, so poison the liter. Antidote. required to then attach to this noun to the da. So da again, that's the expression. Last but not least, we have this te, a particle. Can be a casual floating particle. In this case, technically, from OU. Actually better as in the as the floating particle because someone or in general better it is said that and then the quotation yeah, so transition is hey as for the popular seller of popular line products of this shop, it is said to be the antidotes. Easy. Okay, we can leave the shop. Let's say we can end it here. So, we've finally finished checking out Viridian City. Last but not least, this shop. We enter it. We'll save. We can close the game. And yes, so today, we finished going around Viridian City, checked the shop at last because of the event that we got that thing to be delivered to Professor Oak. And so we advanced the story. So we have that as our next objective. So next time we should be on a Friday as usual, hopefully, if I don't have any other issues like Monday with that stiff neck, but luckily now I've practically fully healed. But we'll continue from there. We'll go back to Pallet Town to deliver that, to hand that to Oak. Before doing that, however, we will definitely have also to open our bag to check that out, because technically, if I recall correctly, in this version of the game, in Pokémon FireRed, there should be descriptions of items. And of course, once we deliver that, we can say goodbye to it. So we really have to check it out now or never. So we'll first check out the bag most likely, and then we'll go back to Pallet Town to deliver that. I guess so. That's our plan. Most likely should be on Friday as usual. And see you next time.